Norwegian Wood is a novel written by Haruki Murakami, one of Japan's most well-known authors, praised for his unique style that combines surrealism, loneliness, and deep thoughts on relationships and life. The novel takes place during the 1960s, a decade marked by political and social changes, when traditional values were being challenged by new, modern ideas. This setting plays a crucial role in the story, as it influences how the characters think and act in their emotional lives. The story begins with Toru Watanabe, now an adult, listening to the Beatles' song Norwegian Wood. When he hears the song, he is immediately transported back to his youth, a time filled with both joy and pain. The song brings back memories of a period in his life that was full of emotional struggles, complex romantic relationships, and personal loss. Toru's journey through the novel is shaped by his relationships with two very different women, Naoko and Midori. While both women are important to him, they each represent different sides of his emotional life, and both leave a deep impact on him. At the beginning of the novel, Toru meets Naoko at the funeral of his best friend Kizuki, who has taken his own life. Kizuki's unexpected suicide deeply affects both Toru and Naoko, as they are left to figure out why he did it and how they should deal with the sadness he caused. Toru had been friends with Kizuki for many years, and his death shakes Toru to his core. For Naoko, Kizuki's death is even more devastating because she had been in a romantic relationship with him. The grief they share brings Toru and Naoko closer, and they start to form a bond as they try to cope with the pain together. However, Naoko's struggle with Kizuki's death is much more intense than Toru's. She begins to experience deep emotional and mental distress, feeling overwhelmed by feelings of guilt, sorrow, and confusion. Eventually, Naoko decides to leave Tokyo and check into a sanatorium in the countryside, hoping that the peaceful setting will help her heal. Toru, feeling a sense of responsibility for her, makes regular visits to the sanatorium, hoping to offer her the support she needs. Their connection becomes stronger as they spend time together, talking about their past and sharing their pain. However, Toru realizes that Naoko's mental health is very fragile, and he starts to fear that she may not be able to recover from the trauma she has suffered. While Toru is closely involved with Naoko, another important relationship begins to develop. During one of his visits to the sanatorium, Toru meets Midori, a lively, independent young woman who brings new energy into his life. Midori is the complete opposite of Naoko. She is outspoken, full of life, and has a very different outlook on the world. Her bright, cheerful personality quickly captures Toru's attention and offers him a welcome distraction from the sadness he feels over Kizuki's death and his difficult relationship with Naoko. Midori's presence in Toru's life brings a sense of lightness and fun that he desperately needs. Midori represents a new chapter in Toru's life, and as he spends more time with her, he starts to feel a sense of joy and freedom that he never experienced with Naoko. Despite this growing attraction to Midori, Toru is still deeply torn between his feelings for Naoko and his new connection with Midori. He feels a strong sense of responsibility to Naoko, who depends on him emotionally, and he struggles with the idea of leaving her behind. This internal conflict leaves Toru feeling stuck, unable to decide between his love for Naoko and the possibility of building a new future with Midori. Toru's emotional turmoil is complicated further by his memories of Kizuki. Even though Kizuki is no longer part of his life, his death continues to haunt Toru and influence his decisions. Kizuki's suicide, which remains unexplained, becomes a symbol of the emotional baggage that both Toru and Naoko carry. The memory of Kizuki is like a shadow over their relationship, reminding them of their shared pain and the difficulty of moving forward. As Toru's relationships with both Naoko and Midori develop, the tension between his emotional needs and the reality of Naoko's mental state reaches a tragic end. Despite Toru's best efforts to help Naoko, her internal struggles, her grief, guilt, and depression become too much for her to handle. In the end, Naoko takes her own life, leaving Toru devastated and forcing him to confront the harsh truths about mental illness and the unpredictable nature of life. Toru is left wondering whether he could have done more to save her, and he spends a long time reflecting on his feelings of guilt and loss. After Naoko's death, Toru finds some comfort in his relationship with Midori, who remains a strong support for him during this difficult time. Midori offers Toru emotional care, and their relationship deepens as they try to move forward together. While Toru cannot completely forget the pain of losing Naoko, Midori represents a sense of hope and the possibility of starting over. Their connection is not perfect, but it provides Toru with the emotional stability he needs to heal and rebuild his life. In the final part of the novel, Toru continues to reflect on the past, his memories of Naoko, Kazuki, and the complicated emotions they all shared. However, there is a sense of cautious optimism in the ending. Toru begins to accept that, while his past will always be part of him, life goes on, and new experiences can offer him healing and growth. He starts to see that, despite the pain he has gone through, the future still holds the possibility of happiness and self-discovery. Norwegian Wood is ultimately a novel about the emotional complexities of love, loss, and self-discovery. It explores the challenges of dealing with grief, trauma, and how difficult it can be to move forward after experiencing deep emotional pain. The story invites readers to reflect on their own emotional journeys and how they deal with the complexities of love, loss, and change. Through Toru's experiences, the novel offers a moving meditation on the human condition and the different ways people face life's challenges. Set against the backdrop of the 1960s, the novel's context adds richness to the characters' emotional struggles. The political and social changes of the time influence their decisions and views on life, but the focus of the story is still on the intimate lives of the characters. Their personal growth and emotional development are at the heart of the novel, despite the changing world around them. In conclusion, Norwegian Wood is a beautifully written and deeply emotional novel that explores the depths of human feelings. Through Toru's relationships with Naoko and Midori, Murakami paints a vivid picture of youth, heartbreak, and the difficulties of finding meaning in a world full of uncertainty. The novel's exploration of love, grief, and healing will resonate with readers, giving them the chance to reflect on their own lives and how they cope with relationships and the passage of time.